Hey everybody, it's Tinny Tintin,
And ALA
and welcome to Sippin.
and Trippin.
Woo!
Hey, I just ran out.
How dare you finish your coffee?
I was thirsty.
Wait for it. As I drink water in an empty Starbucks cup because I reduce, reuse, recycle.
Oh, look at you.
I know. Also, I'm too lazy to get a cup, so there's that too. Uh,
Well, for anyone who is tuning in for the first time, this is a podcast where me and Tenny 1010 unpack some old things that we used to go through or did go through during our time in Japan, which is, a couple years behind us now. But we also talk about random things that come up in the course of conversation, as well as just enjoying each other's black and wonderful company while, entertaining one another and hopefully those who are listening to us.
Two snaps up.
Hey, I like that.
You guys know I'm a nerd. I'm not gonna hide it. I don't care.
Girl, nerds welcome. Blurds welcome.
Thank you. Blurts for life.
Ain't gonna stop. Don't know how to stop. Wow.
As I Millie Rock over here.
As we two blurds rock on, today we are talking about what, Tenny 1010?
Sorry, I was still Millie Rocket, so I need you to go.
Girl, focus. Bring it in.
Yes.
Bring it in.
Yes.
So
The best part is you can't see the things that we're doing.
Yeah, but we're being really stupid in front of each other. Like, stupid good. Not stupid bad, but like stupid good. Like, good stupid.
Stupid
like,
with two O's.
Yep, stupid. Stupid. All right. I like this. I like that we're changing the spelling of things because that's actually something we're going to talk about.
Wait, Anna,
today.
it's on topic. Yeah! But also, like, that's a 90s thing. We've been spelling it that way for quite a while. Like,
well, I mean, I've known of it, but I didn't really use the 2-0 stupid when I lived in the suburbs.
Oh, no. You remember the special S that all the kids wrote?
Oh, the one that has the pointy top.
Yeah,
and the pointy
so we would do that
Girl.
one and then add stupid to it.
It's gotta be fancy. It's gotta be the fancy S.
Or your friends would write you that S and this sup when you were passing notes in class and you weren't supposed to. Which
See, I feel like I fell out of the S phase pretty early because I just started doing a whole bunch of other stuff with letters, like bubble letters and stuff. But there was a specific season in middle school where I used to write notes to my friend backwards so that she would have to stand in front of a mirror to read it. Like, that's the kind of blurred I was, yeah.
That's so creative. See, we had a code. Like, we would meet. I can't remember which friend. I don't think I'm still friends with her anymore because it's been a long time.
Same.
But yeah, like we would write in code, so it would be numbers and letters. I don't even remember what it is anymore. I could not tell you how to do it anymore. But like, yeah, that's how we didn't get caught. So then the teacher would be like, "What are you writing?" She's just like, "Nothing. I'm just taking notes." Blink, blink, innocent face.
See, why receive notes from boys when you can just write whole notes backwards to your besties?
Honestly, did I ever pass notes to boys? I didn't pass notes to boys as far as I remember until high school with my friend Justin and Chris. Yeah.
I think even my middle school longtime crush / first love person, like because he was Japanese, he had like cutesy like things he could write stuff on, so I wouldn't call those notes either, but it was just like, cute little stationery, which now that I've lived in Japan, just know that they have an abundance of, so it wasn't like anything special now in hindsight.
That's so fun. Yeah.
Are you our lives aren't supposed to be the same if everyone was on the same path. No, I was actually scratching my left hand because
money's coming.
I got a little money coming. My God, the mic coming.
Pass me some. Pass me some.
Girl,
Pass, pass, pass.
I'm making it rain through the
I
screen. I
receive it.
got you. I
I
got
receive
you.
it.
In the name of the Lord. Yes. In the name
Yes.
of yes, yes, yes. In the name. Oh my gosh. We are a mess.
Wait, I'm already wheeze laughing. Excuse me.
Oh goodness. Okay. Okay.
All right. So today we're going to be talking about names and some
Okay.
of the funny, not so funny drama ALA had in Japan when it came to her name, how it was pronounced and spelled, etc. And I will
Mm-hmm.
be asking questions because I haven't even heard all of these stories yet.
Hey, I'm just
Yay.
out here collecting stories.
Good times. Leave your cares behind. Why do I always have a song, dear?
It's because we're supposed to be doing karaoke at some point. Oh, wink.
Oh, I actually, you know what? We didn't even write that on the episode list, so let me do
We
that
did
now.
not. We did not. We did not. Bloop.
Okay, so start whenever you're ready. I'll just be here taking notes.
Okay. So, just in case you guys don't know me from social media, like Instagram, my Facebook, my artist page, my first name is Anastasia. It's a name I wouldn't say is common, but it's not uncommon. It's not a name that most Americans, I'd say, have not heard before. And besides, like, just being a name, it's always been kind of weird because I'm a Black woman with the name Anastasia. So I've already coming into the situation with a name that obviously or doesn't seem to suit me. So anyway, with that in mind, when I started Japanese classes at my last college, the University of Vermont, I started taking Japanese lessons. And I, didn't think much of it because I've taken Spanish before. So, usually when you're in class, you have your name. So of course in Spanish classes, if anyone's taken Spanish back in middle school or high school, you get to pick a name or you find the Spanish version of your name. So of course in Spanish, that was really easy to do. In Japanese, however, when you are of foreign descent or just have a name that is not Japanese or Chinese name, your name is typically written in a language type called katakana. And you can also write it in hiragana as well, but it's just not common because our names are foreign to Japanese people.
Yeah, so
So,
katakana is just for foreign loan words and names and things.
yes. Yes. So, like an example of something that's like katakana, for instance, hamburger would be hamburger, and it's spelled that way with like little long lines to stress out certain syllables. So, once you study Japanese, that makes sense. If you have, this makes complete sense. If you haven't, I hope what I'm saying makes sense. So, when I went into my Japanese class and had to transcribe my name into katakana, I was taught and shown that the Japanese version of Anastasia is spelled as Anasutajia, and said quickly, Anasutajia. So there's like a j sound. There's a couple sounds in there that are a little bit abnormal to me. So at
Anastasia.
first, yeah. So like
Anasutaja.
it just doesn't. For me, it irked me that it didn't quite capture how my name sounded.
Mm-hmm.
And in general, a lot of people just kind of fall in line. They just take their name and they go. But for me, it just kind of kept drilling at me. I'm like, that's not how you say my name. If someone
Mm-hmm.
were to say Anastasia, I'm probably not gonna like. I'll eventually learn to answer, but it's just like it'll be a struggle. So like, why not spell my name
Mm-hmm.
how it phonetically has been said to me since I was a child, Anastasia. So I started playing around with the sounds of syllables until I got it as close as possible, so that my katakana name was pronounced Anastasia. So I thought that sounded a lot closer than what they were telling me to do. So with my Japanese teacher, it was a point of contention because she was just like, "You're spelling your name wrong," and I'm like, "I'm not though, because that's closer to how you say it." So I was kind of in some sense defensive with even my teacher, and I tried
Mm-hmm.
not to be disrespectful about it, but it was just like, Suzuki or Toyota. Like if you have like a normal name, yeah, I guess you're gonna find what you need, but I don't have that. So I wanted to make Japanese as close to a home place as I could, and doing that with my name was a way to do it. Oh, yes, I see a question in the back. Teddy 1010. Yes. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am. Yeah.
so actually, I have two questions. Sorry to throw off
All
your
right.
flow. The first is just in case for anyone listening, they don't know, when you say my teacher, who are you referring to?
I am referring to, hold on. I had three teachers at UVM. So it was the teacher that I had my first and last year. Um, I'm not sure if I want to release her name, but she was a very feisty woman who actually was born in Nagoya. So it's actually really interesting that me and my
Um,
sister ended up going there.
mhm,
So she was a very feisty lady. She got pregnant partway through our time there. She was a very cute pregnant lady, but she
mhm,
wanted to fight with me on my name. It's like, look, we about to go.
mhm,
Let's go. Let's go. Respectfully. Let's go. So
mhm. Let's put it this way. So when you say teacher, this means that it's the Japanese teacher that you're working with,
yes. So at
right? Okay.
UVM during my it was like beginning, and I think when I stepped into intermediate, she was the teacher that I was that I scheduled my classes under.
How can I say? So I've seen some students also get upset when I didn't say their name the way they wanted it to be pronounced. For example, for me, it's difficult with Yuki and Yuki.
Hmm.
And so to people who don't speak Japanese, like, that might sound the same. I
Hmm.
can speak Japanese, but even for me, like, Japanese has a lot of extended vowels and short vowels, and sometimes they're like, very close to each other. So
Hmm.
the first one, if someone says, my name is Yuki, 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 that's a short U. And they say, my name's
Hmm.
Yuki, Yuki. That U is just a bit longer, and I can do it now. Um,
Hmm.
but I was out of practice. So whenever I had a student who was Yuki, long U, they would get so
Hmm.
mad because I said Yuki. I'm like,
Oh.
child, I'm not hearing the difference. I am so sorry. I will keep working. Like I told them, I'm so sorry. I'll keep practicing. Um, you know. So
Hmm.
I kind of wonder, to me, it sounds like that's also what you went through when they were saying it's Anastasia, and you're like, that's not my name. Um, and for Japanese people, to them, that is your name because that's how they know it to be pronounced.
Right.
Yeah.
See, I'm not sure
I
what
don't
your
know if that's
question.
the same or I lost my question in
Oh,
telling you that
okay.
story.
My question.
I
So
would say
I
my question is it that it upset you that they pronounced it in a way that's common for them rather than what's common for the English phonetic system? Hello?
I'm trying to think of
Oh,
how to answer
okay.
your question. I don't know if I thought about it that deeply, honestly.
Hmm.
It was for me more of an issue of, I guess I didn't like the idea that a name could just be standardized because I don't
Yeah.
have a simple name like Mary or Susan
Yeah.
or Karen, wink. So it's one of those things where it was like, if I'm going to go through all the trouble of learning this language to go and live in this country, I need to be called as close to my name as possible. And
Hmm.
really, I feel like it was kind of a soapbox at the beginning where it's like, this is my name, this is how I want it to be spelled and pronounced.
Yeah.
And because I was persistent about it and kept true to that, it paid off in the end, if that makes sense.
No,
Yeah.
it does. It
Yeah.
absolutely does. So
Okay.
I just wanted to kind of hear, I'm a little deep sometimes. So I just wanted
I
to hear
know. I
your
know.
opinion. Um, can you
So
tell us a
then,
couple of stories?
so after, getting through 2 years of UVM and moving to Japan and starting my first job with the company at which I met Tenny 1010 at, um, when entered the company, it was understood, at least because of the size of the name tag and the length of my name, and then the average age range of our students, that Anastasia was just going to be too hard for them. So they were like, please consider being named Anna instead so that the students can say Anna Sensei, whatever. So being new to Japan and being like, okay, yeah, I guess I am working with mostly kids under the age of 10. I'll concede and I'll go by Anna Sensei.
Mhm.
So for the first year of my year and a half, I did not really contend it as an issue.
Mhm.
However, when I interviewed and got the position of AET and
Mhm.
stepped out of the conversation school into public school teaching, I wanted to transition from being Anna Sensei to
Mhm.
Anastasia Sensei. So I knew that the name stuff was going to come up again, but at least that this time I had control over how I was going to pronounce it. So when I started as an AT in 2014,
Mhm.
yeah, I had two schools that year. One at a school I shared with a teacher from England, and the other one I was there by myself.
Okay.
So the school that I shared with the guy from England, it was cool because the kids and teachers met him first, and so he was also my senpai. So he kind of showed me the ropes, showed me how to like introduce myself and move around. So I kind of had my hand held at that school. But
Oh, nice. Okay.
at my other school, where I was by myself, however, I had a little bit more issue. And not even just with my name, but in other facets too that will probably be saved for future podcasts. But at this school, as an AET, every year you get a new school. So this was my very first year, my very first school,
Mhm.
and I have to introduce myself to the teachers and make sure I make a great first impression. So on the first day of school for the AET, we have to introduce ourselves by name. You can give them a little bit of information like your age, your hobbies, stuff like that. Keep it real light, maybe 30-second to 1 minute intro.
Yeah.
And you can do that in Japanese because, in the teacher's staff room, using Japanese helps other teachers warm up to you. So they try to encourage you to use Japanese during your introduction.
Okay.
So, I go in there with my little piece of paper. I've practiced what I'm going to say. And, I
Oh.
say everything I'm supposed to say. I'm all excited. I look cute that day, too. Like, I was all dressed up. Like, girl,
Mm-mm.
I was popping. Okay. So,
Lipstick popping, something
okay,
something
no
popping.
lipstick. No lipstick, though, because they got really picky about lipstick sometimes as teachers. So,
Oh, we'll come
anyway.
back to that. Okay.
Oh, we will. I definitely push the limits on that sometimes later when I was more comfortable in my role. But
Same.
but at this school, I do my introduction. I say everything as perfectly as I can, and I bow.
Mhm.
Tell everyone I hope we have a really great year. And so
Mhm. Would you mind doing it in Japanese?
what the
Your
introduction?
introduction, yeah.
It's not really that big. So anyway, you just kind of say, your name. So I would say, Norudo Anastasia Tomoshimasu. So I'm Anastasia Arnold. At the time I was 私は how old was I back then? 24? 24歳
Oh, you
です.
were a
Yeah, I
baby.
was about 24.
ALA editing. Just fact checking myself. I was 25 back in 2014, so just thought I'd add this in.
私の趣味は、絵を描いて、あの、what is it?
Mhm.
クッキーを作って、
Mhm.
あの、what else?
Wait,
What's another hobby I
Fukyotsu,
had back then?
Fukyotsuke? Fukyotsu.
クッキーを作っ
I can't
て、
even say it anymore.
クッキーを
Oh,
作って、
cookie.
クッキー
Gotcha.
Yeah. So step. What else would I say as a hobby? I don't know. I don't even know what my hobbies were at the time. I just
It's
knew that
okay.
I would
Forget
always
it. Forget
say
it.
I would
Yeah.
always say I could draw and I liked baking. That was usually what I would kind of stick to. And
Oh.
then I'd be like, いつでも質問があります。ありません。I forget how to say when.
Mhm.
質問があれば私に聞いてください. So whenever you have any questions, please ask me. 英語、英語か日本語, whatever, in English or Japanese. よろしくお願いします. Let's build a strong
よろしくお願いします。
relationship. So I was really like trippy. Sorry, guys. I've been at an introduction in literally over 2 years. So.
It's okay. I just wanted to hear yours. Yeah.
Oops. But I wouldn't usually say hajime mashite.
ALA popping up again to edit myself. Just very quickly, hajime mashite is usually how you start an introduction. It just means nice to meet you. But neither of us had a chance to translate that in recording. So again, just correcting myself.
Anyway, if I'm going, okay, so at this school, after I introduced myself, after I felt like I smashed my introduction, the principal comes up behind me and, basically says, we're really happy to have Anna Sensei here this year. Really excited to, and he's saying this in Japanese, but then I'm kind of like looking at him like, wait, he just called me Anna Sensei. Like, I literally just introduced my whole name, like my whole name, and he just shortened it and introduced me as such. So, guys, if I have to explain this in any other way, it would only be this. In Japan, in their culture, they have a hierarchy. And of course, at any school, principal's number one. Okay? So, when your principal reintroduces you with the name that they've given you, everyone calls you the name the principal called you.
Mm-hmm.
So, I literally started out my school year saying, hi, this is who I am, and the principal corrected me and said, this is who she is.
Mm-hmm.
That was a problem because from that day on, as I was doing my Juko Shokais or introductions with my students, my teachers kept being like, so then you guys can call her Anna Sensei. And I'm kind of like, no, you can't. I did not give you permission to call me that. Like, I was just like, but then I was also like, this reverts back to what the principal did when he came up after me and said, this is her name. Please have a great year with her. So with this issue kind of repeating itself with my 3 main English teachers and the classes I had with them, I had to go to my boss, who is disconnected from the schools. He just does all the stuff to make sure that we get the schools every year. Mm-hmm. I went to him in my monthly report and was like, hey, don't know how to fix this because I introduced myself one way. The teachers want me to call myself this, but the principal introduced me as such. So please, can you intervene and help me? Because I don't want to go through a whole year having to acclimate myself to being called a name I don't want to be called.
Yeah.
And so my boss intervened and told the principal, so Anna is her home name. So, and he said in Japanese, you'll have to explain it to them as my mother calls me this or my family calls me this, but professionally, I am not called this. Please call me this. So they had to step in on my behalf and say, it is very uncomfortable for her to be called this because it's a very kind of intimate name. And that got me out of it. So the principal had to tell the teachers her name is Anastasia. And then for a while, one of the teachers in particular was really pissy with me about it because she was just like, I don't see why we can't call you that. But she had also worked with my sister the year before. So she was actually comparing my performance to hers. So it was just like a lot.
Again.
So I was just like, okay, I'm just not going to win with you right now. So, lo and behold, that same exact year, what movie comes out?
Anastasia. Actually, I don't know.
Frozen comes out.
Crap balls.
And so, I won't say there was a relapse of my name, but because there's a character named Anna in it.
It's supposed to be Anna, I think.
They didn't care. They're just like, Anna! Ah! Like, no. And then there was some situations at karaoke parties where they're like, Anna Sensei, sing, let it go. I'm like, oh Lord
no,
Jesus,
they didn't.
help me not destroy these people. It happened, and I definitely during some times where I was inebriated enough. I was inebriated enough a few times to sing it pretty well, but I realized after a while I was like, yeah, if anyone asks me to do this again, this is not happening.
I'm gonna fight you.
I'll probably have to leave the room because yeah, I'm just like, this is no. Anyway, I got my name fixed from that point on. So I made like a promise to myself that every year I would reiterate that my name was Anastasia Sensei and stand on that ground, because I'm like, and because now I was equipped with a way to explain it away, as in, don't call me this because of this. I was able to start my next year when I had only one school and say, I'm Anastasia Sensei. And when a teacher tried to challenge me, he was like, Anastasia is too hard for the students to say. I said, no, it's not. I've had students call me it all year. They did just fine. And that put him at odds with me at first, but he
Okay.
respected me for putting my foot down and was
Hmm.
just like, okay, I guess Anastasia isn't that bad. And this guy had like a long name, like he had a long first name. So I'm like thinking, I have the
Well,
same number of syllables that you have, so
wow.
please understand that it's not that hard. Like it's
So,
just
for
not.
example, let's just say his name is like Diosuke,
Uh-huh.
right? If Diosuke and a state, no, it's not the same amount. Dang, I can't think of a longer name past Diosuke.
Let's pretend that his name was Yoshinori. 4 syllables.
Yoshinori. Okay.
And Anasutesa is perceived as 4 syllables how it's
That's
pronounced.
5.
Anasutesa. Well, I mean, if you count that long line that stretches out that syllable, ana,
Anasuteja. Am I
anasu. Oh,
segmenting
maybe it
it
is
wrong?
5. Okay, maybe. Okay. No, you're doing it right. You're doing it right. But anyway,
I'm like, wait, I have to do this for work. Hold on.
sorry. So anyway, the way that my name is spelled or how I spelled it phonetically in Japanese had 5
Mm-mm-mm.
syllables. And there's a
Mm-mm.
lot of students and teachers who have 4 syllables, sometimes 5, but 4. And I'm like, it's really not that big a stretch. You just have to practice. And so, like, once I was able to reiterate that with that teacher and kind of fix that little bit of opposition, it was a smooth year. I've even had students, mostly male students, be like, Anastasia Sensei, I love you. Like they would sing your name. Like so it's like they can do it. Like let them try. And so from then on, during my introductions, especially if I ever had to do any kind of coverage lessons or like a quick elementary school lesson where you only make one appearance, I would introduce myself by introducing each syllable of my name and attaching something to it. So I'd be like, so repeat after me. Ah, they'd be like, like,
Ah,
nah,
nah.
so I would used to make jokes with like the sounds of it. Like when you say anaste, it sounds like namaste. So I would make the kids remember these 3 syllables, being like anaste, and I'm
It's
like
a
namaste.
mnemonic.
So
Good
they
job,
were
good
like,
job, good job.
they're like clapping because they're like, yeah, wordplay, woo! Like they love that. Like so I was just like, okay. So then adding the shah at the end wasn't that hard after that. And then after that, it's the students be like, Anastasia. I'm like, see, they can do it. Like let them learn to do it. So it became a teachable moment, if that makes sense.
So I have a
Okay.
question, but I don't know if it's rude,
Okay.
and intention doesn't matter because of how people receive things. But
Right.
in your experience, do you feel that sometimes the children were coddled
Yes.
from being able to do things on their own, or at least being able to
Yes.
figure out things, you know?
Yes. It's because English, well, besides it being a business, in the
Mm.
school setting, it's so standardized
Mm-mm-mm.
that it really makes it hard for the students to navigate the language perfectly. And so when they
Mhm.
can't do it perfectly, they would rather just be quiet or not try because they don't want to get something wrong, because wrong means you failed and failure is bad. So that
I
coddling.
I fully agree. Just because
Okay.
I've heard like I have other friends that are in China and Korea, and they say the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely a coddling of some type. And it's really, it's just they think that they're helping them, but it really comes at a detriment because it's just like you can't pretend like every single thing in English is a teachable thing like math or science. Like
Mm.
language is meant to be exercised and practiced, and you're supposed to mess up, and they shouldn't be punished if they mess up by getting a lower mark on their test. Yes, I
Mhm.
get it on black and white on paper. Yeah, you made a mistake. It's wrong. But it translated to them being like, I'm just not going to even say it because I don't want to be wrong. And it's just like,
So then, do you think it's about about saving face? Because what is it? Mensuo ushinao is to lose face. So do you think a lot of the students, or at least the teachers at the school are concerned, like, oh, we don't want to lose face in front of this foreigner, you know?
Um,
I mean, we can only make assumptions here, but I wonder if that's part of it.
I don't know if it's a lose face situation. It was just more of
Hmm.
a like whether you liked English as a subject situation. It was a I'm
Hmm.
willing to put myself out there kind of situation because it's
Hmm.
just some kids still left middle school and high school believing English was a game, and that's a problem. But
Oh, that's a
that's
problem.
a problem. But when you are the English teacher or the AET and you're the one bringing games, you are associating fun with the language, and then when they realize it's not fun all the time,
Yeah, that
they
it's
have
work.
trouble staying motivated.
It's not
Yeah,
just fun.
they have to require that of themselves. So, but I also would reiterate to my students and even my teachers that mistakes were how you learn. So I would always use this one story.
Hmm.
It was during my time still in the first year. So like I was still in what is it? In conversation school, and I was really close to one of my teachers who I eventually fell out with because she started dating one of my coworkers, and it was weird. So I was just like, I can't with you. But before we
Mm.
fell out, we went to this party, and we were just eating and having fun. And there was this one part where it was maybe like me and like 3 or 4 other Japanese people and my sister. And one of the Japanese ladies asked me, oh, is the food good? And I said, yeah. I said, onaka ga opai. And they all were like, I know. And I'm like, what? And they're like, opai. And they gestured to their breast, which is,
Yeah.
means full breast. So I was saying my
Yeah.
stomach is full breast. And they were like, don't do that. They're like, ipai da. I'm like, oh, ipai. So I said, oh, naka ga ipai. No, so, beautiful, beautiful. So like, making that mistake taught me not to mix up opai and ipai. And so I used to teach my students that exact story. Now, first off, they would
Oh
explode
dear.
in laughter.
Yes, because they're
But I would
children.
also, yeah, but I'd be like, but I said, do you guys understand? I said, even though I made this mistake, using it wrong helped them
Yeah.
teach me how to fix it. And they were like,
Yeah.
oh. And I'm like, so please remember this. So that was always one of my go-to stories whenever I
Yeah.
would talk about making mistakes. Like, it was just a go-to. Like, I'm
Yeah.
out here. I'm out here living this life.
Oh.
I'm out here living so I can teach y'all how to do it. Like, come on now.
Oh. No, I told you my story about like when my supervisor said, "What'd you do today?" And I'm like, "I cleaned my room, I did the laundry, and I washed the dishes." And everyone started laughing. I'm like, "Why? Did I say it wrong?" And they said, "Tenny ten ten, you said you washed the monkey." I'm like, "What?"
The
Wait, be-
implication.
nah. So in Japanese, the word sada is dishes, okay? It could be one dish, it could be a group of dishes, doesn't matter.
Mhm.
Monkey is saru. It's one letter difference, okay? So I'm like, oh, like, 今日自分の部屋を掃除して、洗濯をして、猿を洗った。And that was just, woo, group
It's
laughter.
over.
Yeah.
You
So I said
watch
I
that
cleaned my
monkey.
room, I did the laundry, and I washed the monkey. And
You
so
watch that monkey, girl.
shut
You
up.
watch that monkey.
I washed the
Ooh,
dishes.
ooh, ah.
I will fight you. So even now, I tell my students the same story and like same reaction. Everyone busts out laughing, and they're like, "It's not funny, but it's funny, teacher." I'm like, "No, it is funny now," but at the time, I was very
Right,
embarrassed.
right, exactly. So I guess that's the moral of today's podcast, kids. Make mistakes.
Make mistakes with your full boobs and your monkey.
Okay, cut.
Please continue.
So anyway, after learning fun ways to introduce my name and teach my name, it became a less of an issue. My third year was pretty smooth in that sense, even though it was a really hard year. And that was the year I taught the civil rights lessons. But um, by the time I got to high school and I was really established as a teacher and knew exactly what I was doing, and then had a staff where it was mostly female teachers who really wanted to connect with me like having them be able to say, "Yo, Anastasia, what's going on with you?" Like it was just like they're saying my name. Like it was just like these Japanese women
Aww.
are saying my name. They're calling on me, and I can respond and come to them openly because well they've taken the time to know me and learn who I am. But it was just like it just made that last year all the more magical because there was no like
Aww.
push and pull of no, this is what we want to call you. It's too hard. It was like it was none of that. It was just complete acceptance. Though I did work with a
Aww.
Karen that year as well. I had a Karen teacher
A
that
Japanese
year.
Karen.
Girl, Japanese Karen. Mm-mm-mm.
Do you want to talk about it or not talk about it or?
I don't even know where to start with that one. I don't even know
Uh-oh.
what is it? What category to put that story in right now. I think we should put that in like a troublesome incidents
Uh,
podcast. Oh, yes. All right. One more thing about the name then. And I'll end it on this note because again, I know that I just said all these wonderful things that happened, but I want to rewind. There were a few people who on occasion knew that Anastasia was the Russian princess's name.
yeah.
And so that was kind of cool to connect with them about that. But there was a time at my high school where my students asked me, they're like, so like is Anastasia a culture name? Like is it like where did it come from? Because a lot of in Japan, when you have a Japanese name that has it has kanji that means something and they have that culture.
Uh-huh.
A black girl named Anastasia, with Anastasia being a Greek name, let me tell y'all, Anastasia
Uh-uh.
is Greek. I've had so many people try to correct me. They're like, it's Russian. I'm like,
Oh,
pardon
I
me.
thought it was.
I've
Is it
only
not?
learned
It's
that
not? I'm so sorry.
it is not. It is Greek. It is okay. No, because you don't know. But I've had people be like, well, it was a Russian princess, so it's Russian. I'm like, no, that's literally not how that works. Like, look in a baby name dictionary. It's Greek. And so explaining to my students why a black woman from America has a Greek name, like that was fun. But I was also telling them, hey, in America, like people just have kids and they pick names that they like. Like my mother liked that name, so she named me that.
Yeah.
And I got to use that time to introduce the meaning of names. Because everyone's name has meaning. So for instance, if your name is Sakura, you're a flippin' cherry blossom, like yay.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, Anastasia's actual meaning is resurrection or to resurrect.
Oh.
And so when I was able to explain to them that meaning, they were like, nani, I'm like,
I don't
okay.
even know what that is in
So
Japanese.
resurrection is a big word. So I said, so resurrection. So I had to that turned into a lesson of itself, like a very quick lesson. I said, so to resurrect, so that means to die. And I stab myself in the neck. I'm like, and then get back up again. And they're like, I was just like, stay with me, guys. Stay with me.
Oh, that's funny.
So I said, when I think of my name to die or to fall and get back up, I said, it always reminds me to never give up. I have to keep trying. And they were like, boy!
I get knocked down when I get up again.
So that made me really happy that I was able to use my name as like a teachable moment. I'm like, everyone's name means something, but the fact that my name tells me I have to get back up keeps me going. And they were like, wow, that's so cool. So
Oh,
I was just like, yeah, it is so cool. My mom did a good job. So, so that was kind of amazing. But again, that was by my 4th year. So that was when I was really sure of myself and able to move about comfortably with my teachers and with my students.
Mm-hmm.
Despite the Japanese caring. So I think that's all I have on my name.
That is interesting, yo.
It's a lot. And again, I feel like maybe I stood on a soapbox about it, but I realized the power in being called what you feel like you're supposed to be called. And I don't want to make this into some sort of stance on things, but it should help people be a little bit more empathetic towards other things that people are dealing with. Like, for instance, and I'm not equating this at all in any way, but for instance, for people with pronouns, imagine that discomfort that people feel when they're they're perceived as a she or her, but they are a they and them.
Mhm.
That's unease happens to me when my name was being not said correctly, like
Mhm.
having to answer to a name that was not mine. And
Mhm.
so it helps me at least I think grow that empathy towards people who are like, "Who, this is who I am. Can you please respect that?" Like I feel like that's important to people. So
Mhm.
I think I'm willing to have stood on that soapbox to have had the fulfillment of who I was in Japan to at least come to that moment of being like, yes, I'm glad that I fought for this, even if it seemed like something so little and kind of, minute at the time.
I,
So
I
yeah,
mean, your name's your identity. It's like I was saying with Yuki and Yuki, like that extended vowel student with
yeah.
Yuki was like, you need to say my name correctly. And I guess enough people butchered his name, he was just like, rage. He was
And I
not
did not
happy.
face that, but I also like my Japanese students, like I never called them by their first names after I became an AET. Like I started using their last
Ah,
names to call on them. And they gave me an excuse to study kanji combinations so that I could spot read their kanji on their chests. So,
ah.
I figured if I could put myself through hours of learning different kanji combinations, then they can at least say Anastasia Sensei. Like
Oh
I'm
no,
just
I
like,
tried
look,
that
guys, I'm
once.
fighting.
I tried that once and they were like, you make me sound so old, don't call me that.
No, I definitely leaned into it because a lot of my students were
Yeah.
like, Nakamura, my phone. They're like,
Oh no.
Nakamura, that's me, that's me. I'm just like, yeah, that's you. But my phone, what is going on?
What's wrong?
My phone keeps like falling over for like no reason. So.
Oh, so are you calling them like Nakamura, Nakamura-kun, Nakamura-chan, Nakamura? I said Chan. I don't speak Japanese or English at this point. Or
I would just, I
Nakamura-san.
would,
Like, what are you calling them?
I, I would just say their last names. It's like, I would look at the what is it?
Roster?
There was a seating list in every classroom,
Uh huh.
and like, well, it's like a roster, but it's like their names, their kanji for their names, and sometimes hiragana was under it. Was printed on
Mm.
where their desk was in the room, so I could look at it and be like,
Uh-huh.
Mizuno, and they're like, and then they'd answer the
Ah,
question. But if I didn't do
Mizuno.
that,
Mhm.
I would sometimes point to a student and be like, "Yes, sir. Yes, madam." Like I would like do that, and I had
That's
a couple of
cute.
people critique me on that. They're like, "That's interesting to call them sir and miss and madam. Like that's actually a really good way to teach them random English." I'm like, "Yeah, that's why I do it."
I think it's really interesting how you kind of talked about pronouns because right now the um, LGBTQIA plus movement is really
Mm-hmm.
taking off in Japan, it seems, at least in like some
Hmm.
cities, though it's not, you know. So a lot more
Yeah. Right.
people
Right.
are able to be gender fluid. Also, East Asia has that whole thing about like, there's a girl going to an all boys school, but nobody knows she's a girl. Will she fall in love? Like, there are so many dramas like that. Or like,
They
the boy
really
goes
are.
to an all girl school, but no one knows. Or it's like, a multi-gendered school and here comes in a kid who's like very what was the word everyone used, androgynous, right? And
Yeah.
nobody
Yeah.
knew for the longest time what the gender of that kid was, and the kid didn't care enough to correct anyone, so there were like tons of
Right.
dramas, like, yeah. So I find it really interesting how that's what you talked about. So I had a
Right.
class with a kid who, again, the name was Yuki because Yuki's a unisex name. I
Yeah.
could not, I had no idea what gender this child was. And at first I was like, oh no, what pronoun should I use? And then I thought, wait, you don't even have to use pronouns in Japanese. It saved me.
Yeah. Yeah. They.
So
Yeah.
I
They
was
don't.
wondering if you had a similar experience to that, where like maybe you had an androgynous kid and it's like, I don't know. So
Do you,
that's why you
do you
using
mean
their last name is really interesting.
Do you mean public schools, or do you mean with the conversation school?
Both.
Conversation school. I never had any issues with students' genders. They had issue with me. I got conchoed in the puss because they were like, "Are you a girl
Yeesh.
or a boy?"
Oh my god,
It's
me
like,
too. Why did they
it's
need to
like
stop the conchoing thing?
I'm like, first off, first I was taught concho goes in the butt. Okay, I'm not trying to be
Thank
weird
you.
about it, but I was taught it goes in the butt. So when that girl conchoed me in the front, and I like literally, I put the fear of God in that girl because like she ugly cried. I gave no fucks at that moment. I was like, look, ain't no child touching me when no man or woman has. So you need to quit that. Like I was just like, no.
Wait, did this
No.
child pull a Goku on you?
Yes.
Oh man.
Yeah. That finger went deeper than it should have. I'm glad I had some thigh meat to stop it, but I was just like
Oh no.
violated. I was just like,
Oh,
so when she ugly cried in the corner, I did not care. I did not really. I think I might have had to write an incident report about it because I was just like, I had to cover my bases because I'm like, yeah, this child cried because she touched me where she should not have. She need not do it again. Like I was just like, I was very unapologetic in that incident report. I was just like, no, that's a
oh
no.
my
Did she do it again?
gosh.
Did she do it again though? Answer
No.
the question. Nah, she knew better. I was like,
Why are you using your black mama voice on me?
sorry.
Answer the
Nah.
question.
I'm triggered. Okay, hold on, we bring it down. But yeah, but within the public school setting, when it came to gender of students, because the uniforms are gendered, it just doesn't come up. Like you look at that student, he is wearing a male student outfit, he is presumed male. Like it just doesn't come up.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, that's why I brought up the dramas, because the same thing happened. It's like...
right. Some kids sneaking. Now, if I'm fair, there were some pretty faced young men, and there was some girls who had shorter hair. But again, that's neither here nor there. I've been a woman with short hair, and I'm becoming a woman with long hair. So I'm like, I'm not gonna be questioning about that because I've also been asked if my sexuality was pertaining to my hair cut and hairstyle. Like I don't know why people want to associate a whole bunch of things with just a style preference at the time. Like that always irritated
That is true.
じゃあ終わり
はい、以上です。
はい。
Everyone, that is the end of our podcast for today. We had a great time chatting with each other, and we hope that you sipped and tripped along with us. So I hope you look forward to our next episode where we will be talking about the fertility festivals in Japan.
Wink, 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 wink.
And that's all for now. So laters, love you, be safe, take care.
はい。お疲れ様。
お疲れです。
はい、お疲れ様。
お疲れ様でした。